First Contact's Folly. High Admiral Zexthor of the Kraxan Empire stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, his primary eyes fixed on the holographic display of the Sol system, while his secondary set tracked the nervous movements of his bridge crew. The human's detection grid had already spotted them. Primitive technology, but functional enough to notice a war fleet of this size. Fascinating, he chittered, mandibles clicking in amusement. They've arranged their defensive fleet in a classical pincer 7 formation. Almost textbook, if the textbook was written 10,000 cycles ago. His strategic director, Valna, approached with a data slate. High Admiral, initial scans confirm our intelligence reports. Their vessels show minimal energy signatures, basic magnetic shielding, and chemical propulsion systems. The largest ship in their fleet is barely a quarter the size of the Eternal Dominion. And how many vessels total? 317, spread across their inner system defensive line. Zexthor's mandibles clicked again, this time in genuine laughter. 300. We have 2,000 ships in this fleet alone, and 5 more fleets en route. The Council insisted we bring overwhelming force for this conquest, but it seems they were being overcautious. The Kraxan Empire had conquered 17 spacefaring civilizations in the last millennium. Each victory had required progressively more resources, more advanced technology, more innovative tactics. When their long-range probes discovered Earth and its burgeoning space presence, the Council had insisted on sending 6 full war fleets. Now, seeing the reality of humanity's military capability, Zexthor felt almost embarrassed by such excessive preparation. High Admiral, his communications director called out, "We're receiving a transmission from the human fleet. Put it through. Let's hear what they have to say before we begin." The holographic display shifted, showing a human female in what appeared to be a military uniform. Her expression was calm, almost serene. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. You have entered restricted space. State your intentions or withdraw immediately." Zexthor admired her composure, even if it was born of ignorance regarding her true situation. "I am High Admiral Zexthor of the Kraxan Empire. Your species has been identified as a potential threat to galactic stability. Submit to immediate occupation and integration into the Empire, or face elimination." Admiral Chen's expression didn't change. "We decline. You have 10 minutes to withdraw." The transmission cut off. "Confident, aren't they?" Valna observed. "Confidence born of ignorance," Zexthor replied. "Still, I admire their spirit. Launch the first wave. Let's show them what real space combat looks like." 500 Kraxan warships moved forward, their energy weapons charging. The human fleet held position, their smaller vessels clustering around their capital ships in defensive formations. "They're not even attempting to evade," Valna noted. "Their tactics are as primitive as their technology." "Fire at will," Zexthor commanded. Standard conquest pattern. The space between the fleets lit up as hundreds of energy beams lanced out from the Kraxan ships. The human fleet made no attempt to dodge. Instead, just before impact, something unexpected happened. The energy beams bent. "What?" Zexthor leaned forward, all 4 eyes widening. "Report." Unknown gravitational distortions surrounding the human fleet, his science director reported, mandibles clicking rapidly in agitation. "They're somehow manipulating local spacetime." The bent energy beams curved around the human ships, some even turning back toward the Kraxan fleet. Several Imperial vessels took hits from their own weapons. "Impossible," Valna whispered. "Their ships showed no signs of such technology." "High Admiral," the tactical director called out, detecting massive energy spikes from the lunar surface. Zexthor turned his attention to Earth's moon, where dozens of previously hidden installations were powering up. The humans hadn't just been developing space combat capabilities, they'd transformed their moon into a fortress. "All ships, evasive action," he ordered, but it was too late. Concentrated beams of exotic particles erupted from the lunar surface, tearing through cracks and shields as if they didn't exist. The particles seemed to ignore normal space-time physics, striking their targets the instant they were fired, giving no time to evade. 20 ships lost. Valna reported, her voice shaking. 30, 40. The human fleet began to move, but not in any formation Zexthor recognized. Their ships shifted positions randomly, yet somehow maintained perfect coordination. Each movement exposed different Kraxan vessels to the lunar cannons. "Pull back the first wave," Zexthor ordered. "Ready the second wave for—" He never finished the sentence. A new set of readings demanded his attention. The human ships were changing. What had appeared to be simple hull plating was morphing, revealing previously hidden weapon systems. The small primitive vessels were transforming into something else entirely. "High Admiral," his science director's voice was barely a whisper, "those aren't ships. They're some kind of synthetic organic hybrid. They're adapting to our attack pattern in real time." The humans had not only mastered gravitational manipulation and faster-than-light particle weapons, they'd created living ships that could evolve during battle. As Zexthor watched his first wave of ships being systematically destroyed, he realized the Kraxan Empire had made a terrible mistake. They hadn't discovered a primitive species ripe for conquest. They'd awakened a sleeping giant. "Send word to the Council," he ordered, mandibles clicking in fear rather than amusement now. The intelligence reports were wrong. The humans weren't developing space combat capability. They were perfecting it. The battle had just begun, but Zexthor already knew. This conquest would be different from all the others. If they survived, the Kraxan Empire would have to rewrite their military doctrine from scratch. Humanity had just changed the rules of space warfare forever. The Ghost Fleet Protocol. 6 hours, Valna reported, her claws tapping nervously against the command console. "We've lost 600 ships in 6 hours. High Admiral Zexthor didn't respond immediately. He watched the tactical display, trying to make sense of the humans' battle strategy. Their ships, if they could even be called ships anymore, moved in patterns that defied conventional military logic. Just when the Kraxan forces thought they'd identified a pattern, the entire human fleet would shift to an entirely new tactical approach. "The second and third fleets will arrive within the next 12 hours, he finally said. "We still hold the numerical advantage." "With respect, High Admiral," Valma's mandibles clicked in distress. Numbers meant nothing against their lunar cannons. "And now," she gestured at the display, where another Kraxan cruiser was being torn apart by weapons that shouldn't exist. The human vessels had evolved again, their hybrid organic-synthetic hulls, now generating localized quantum fields that simply erased portions of targeted ships from existence. "Send the fourth attack wave around the dark side of their moon," Zexthor ordered. "If we can't beat their technology, we'll bypass it." "Sir." The sensor operator's cry cut through the bridge's tension. "Multiple quantum signatures detected. Scale exceeds anything we've seen from their visible fleet." The tactical display erupted with new contact markers. Hundreds of them, then thousands, appearing from seemingly empty space around the lunar orbit. The quantum signatures were familiar, similar to the humans' visible fleet. But these ships were different. They were larger, more angular, and completely invisible to standard sensors. "The Ghost Fleet." Admiral Chen's voice came through on all frequencies, her image appearing on every screen on the Kraxan bridge. "Did you think those first ships were our actual defense force? They were just the observation fleet." Zexthor's primary eyes widened while his secondary set narrowed to focusing points. "Impossible. No species has ever achieved practical quantum cloaking at this scale. Humanity doesn't accept impossible as an answer, High Admiral. We just see it as a challenge to overcome." The ghost ships decloaked fully, revealing vessels that dwarfed even the largest Kraxan warships. Their hulls rippled with organic patterns, but unlike the smaller ships, these behemoths showed no signs of transformation. They didn't need to evolve. They were already perfect killing machines. All ships, combat formation, Zexthor ordered, but his crews were already moving. The Kraxan Empire hadn't survived this long by being slow to adapt. The Ghost Fleet's first volley wasn't energy weapons or quantum erasure beams. Instead, thousands of tiny objects burst from their launch bays, each one barely larger than a personal transport pod. Drones? Valna wondered aloud. No, Zexthor realized with growing horror. Seeds. The objects bloomed in space, unfurling into crystalline structures that began absorbing solar radiation. Within minutes, they had grown into a vast network of interconnected platforms, creating a three-dimensional maze that trapped the Kraxan fleet in its geometric web. The humans haven't just mastered biological engineering, the science director reported, his voice filled with both fear and admiration. They've learned to grow technology itself. These structures are generating their own quantum fields, strengthening the Ghost Fleet's capabilities exponentially. The Ghost Fleet Protocol. 6 hours, Valna reported, her claws tapping nervously against the command console. We've lost 600 ships in 6 hours. High Admiral Zexthor didn't respond immediately. He watched the tactical display, trying to make sense of the humans' battle strategy. Their ships, if they could even be called ships anymore, moved in patterns that defied conventional military logic. Just when the Kraxan forces thought they'd identified a pattern, the entire human fleet would shift to an entirely new tactical approach. The second and third fleets will arrive within the next 12 hours, he finally said. We still hold the numerical advantage. With respect, High Admiral, Valna's mandibles clicked in distress. Numbers meant nothing against their lunar cannons. And now, she gestured at the display, where another Kraxan cruiser was being torn apart by weapons that shouldn't exist. The human vessels had evolved again, their hybrid organic-synthetic hulls, now generating localized quantum fields that simply erased portions of targeted ships from existence. Send the fourth attack wave around the dark side of their moon, Zexthor ordered. If we can't beat their technology, we'll bypass it. Sir. The sensor operator's cry cut through the bridge's tension. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Scale exceeds anything we've seen from their visible fleet. The tactical display erupted with new contact markers. Hundreds of them, then thousands, appearing from seemingly empty space around the lunar orbit. The quantum signatures were familiar, similar to the humans' visible fleet, but these ships were different. They were larger, more angular, and completely invisible to standard sensors. The Ghost Fleet. Admiral Chen's voice came through on all frequencies, her image appearing on every screen on the Kraxan bridge. Did you think those first ships were our actual defense force? They were just the observation fleet. Zexthor's primary eyes widened while his secondary set narrowed to focusing points. Impossible. No species has ever achieved practical quantum cloaking at this scale. Humanity doesn't accept impossible as an answer, High Admiral. We just see it as a challenge to overcome. The ghost ships decloaked fully, revealing vessels that dwarfed even the largest Kraxan warships. Their hulls rippled with organic patterns, but unlike the smaller ships, these behemoths showed no signs of transformation. They didn't need to evolve. They were already perfect killing machines. All ships, combat formation. Zexthor ordered, but his crews were already moving. The Kraxan Empire hadn't survived this long by being slow to adapt. The Ghost Fleet's first volley wasn't energy weapons or quantum erasure beams. Instead, thousands of tiny objects burst from their launch bays, each one barely larger than a personal transport pod. Drones? Valna wondered aloud. No, Zexthor realized with growing horror. Seeds. The objects bloomed in space, unfurling into crystalline structures that began absorbing solar radiation. Within minutes, they had grown into a vast network of interconnected platforms, creating a three-dimensional maze that trapped the Kraxan fleet in its geometric web. The humans haven't just mastered biological engineering, the science director reported, his voice filled with both fear and admiration. They've learned to grow technology itself. These structures are generating their own quantum fields, strengthening the Ghost Fleet's capabilities exponentially. Silicon and steel. The diplomatic vessel Harmonious Exchange hung in space halfway between Earth's quantum crystal network and the withdrawn Kraxan fleet. Inside its primary conference chamber, High Admiral Zexthor found himself fascinated by the human delegate sitting across from him. Not Admiral Chen, as he'd expected, but a young human male who had introduced himself as Dr. Marcus Zhang, Director of Hybrid Warfare Systems. "You understand our confusion," Zexthor said, gesturing with his upper arms while his lower pair remained formally clasped. "Your species went from chemical rockets to quantum manipulation in less than a century. The technological leap is unprecedented." Dr. Zhang smiled, adjusting his neural interface headset, a subtle reminder of humanity's integration with their technology. "We had help, though not in the way you might think. Humanity's greatest breakthrough wasn't in physics or biology. It was in processing power." The holoprojector between them activated, displaying a complex network of interconnected nodes. "This is AI, Adaptive Recursive Intelligence Array. Not a single AI, but a vast network of specialized artificial intelligences working in perfect harmony with human consciousness." Velna, who had insisted on accompanying Zexthor to the negotiations, leaned forward. "You let artificial intelligences control your military." "No," Zhang corrected. "We work with them. Every ship in our fleet, every crystal in our defense network, has both human and AI components. The organic parts of our ships aren't just for show. They're living processors, quantum computers made of engineered tissue." The display shifted, showing the interior of one of the Ghost Fleet vessels. Zexthor's four eyes widened as he saw humans working alongside flowing streams of light and organic circuitry, their neural interfaces allowing direct communication with both the ship's AI and its living systems. "When we detected your empire's expansion," Zhang continued, "we knew conventional weapons wouldn't be enough. So we took a different approach. Instead of building bigger ships or more powerful weapons, we focused on integration, human intuition, artificial intelligence, and organic computing, all working as one." The random patterns in battle, Zexthor realized. They weren't random at all. Correct. Each movement was calculated by our hybrid systems, incorporating millions of variables in real time. The AIs provided perfect tactical analysis, the organic systems allowed quantum-level adaptation, and human intuition provided the unpredictability that made our strategies impossible to counter. The display changed again, showing the crystalline network that now encased Earth's orbital space. Even these aren't just defensive structures. Each crystal is a node in AI's network, a combination of grown quantum processors and artificial intelligence. They turn our entire solar system into one vast, interconnected mind. Valna's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of distress among her people. Such integration with artificial intelligence, the risks, were considerable, Zhang acknowledged, which is why we took a biological approach. The organic components of our systems aren't just computers, they're immune systems. Any AI that attempts to operate outside of established parameters triggers an organic response. The system literally rejects it, like a body fighting off an infection. Zexthor found himself nodding with growing appreciation. The humans hadn't just advanced their technology. They'd fundamentally reimagined how different technologies could work together. Each element balanced the others, creating something far greater than the sum of its parts. "There's more," Zhang said, his expression growing serious. "During our brief conflict, ARIA was analyzing your fleet's technology. We believe we've identified several areas where our approaches could complement each other. Your empire's mastery of energy weapons, combined with our quantum manipulation. You're proposing technological exchange." Valna interrupted, her tone incredulous. "After we attempted to conquer your system, we're proposing partnership," Zhang corrected. "Humanity's goal was never conquest or dominion. We built our defenses because we had to, but our true ambition is exploration. Understanding. Growth. Your empire has encountered 17 spacefaring civilizations. Imagine what we could learn from each other. The holoprojector displayed a new image, a theoretical hybrid of Craxan and human technology. The design incorporated the best of both species. Craxan energy manipulation and structural engineering merged with human quantum systems and organic computing. This is merely a concept, Zhang said, but ARIA predicts a 93.7% increase in efficiency compared to current designs from either of our civilizations. And that's just the beginning. Zexthor studied the design, his tactical mind already seeing the possibilities. The Craxan Empire had grown through conquest because they had never encountered a civilization advanced enough to be a true partner. Until now. The Council will need to be convinced, he said slowly. They authorized this mission, expecting either conquest or confrontation. Partnership was not considered as a possibility. Zhang's smile returned. Then perhaps it's time for a demonstration. With your permission, we'd like to interface one of our neural links with your ship's systems. Let you experience firsthand how our hybrid technology functions. Zexthor glanced at Valna, saw his own mix of caution and curiosity reflected in her posture. The humans had already proven they could have destroyed the Craxan fleet if they wished. This wasn't a trick or a trap. It was a genuine offer to share knowledge. Very well, he decided. Show us what your silicon and steel can do. As Zhang began the interface preparation, Zexthor reflected on how quickly everything had changed. They had come to Earth expecting to find a primitive civilization in need of conquest. Instead, they had found something far more valuable, a species that had transcended the traditional boundaries between organic and artificial, between computing and consciousness. The galaxy was about to change, not through war, but through partnership. And for the first time in centuries, the Craxan Empire would be learning instead of teaching. The hive mind's surprise. The harmonious exchange shuddered as the neural interface activated. High Admiral Zexthor felt his consciousness expand, connecting to systems far more vast and complex than anything the Craxan Empire had developed. Through the interface, he could sense the intricate dance of human and artificial intelligence, organic computing and quantum fields, all working in perfect harmony. But something was wrong. The connection is unstable, Dr. Zhang announced, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. The Craxan physiology. There's something we didn't account for. Zexthor's mandibles clicked in recognition. Our collective consciousness, he said. You didn't know. Valna stepped forward, her own consciousness automatically synchronizing with her commanders, a natural ability of their species. The Craxan are telepathically linked, all of us, to varying degrees. It's how we coordinate our fleets so effectively. Zhang's eyes widened. A natural hive mind. Araya. Analyzed the neural patterns. The ship's systems hummed as the artificial intelligence network studied the unexpected phenomenon. Holographic displays flickered with new data, showing the intricate web of telepathic connections spanning the entire Craxan fleet. Fascinating, Zhang murmured. Your species evolved natural quantum entanglement at the neural level. That's why our interface is struggling. It's detecting two different forms of collective consciousness trying to interact. Through the neural link, Zexthor could sense the human hybrid system attempting to adapt. Their artificial intelligence network was incredibly sophisticated, but it operated on fundamentally different principles than the Craxan hive mind. Perhaps we should discontinue. Valna began, but Zhang held up a hand. Wait. Ariad is proposing something interesting. Your natural quantum entanglement. If we could synchronize it with our crystal network. The holographic displays shifted, showing a theoretical merger of the two systems. The Craxan's natural telepathic field would act as a bridge between their traditional technology and the human hybrid systems, creating something entirely new. Your consciousness evolved to work as one, Zhang explained, excitement building in his voice. Our technology evolved to integrate different forms of intelligence. Together. We could transcend the limitations of both systems, Sexthor finished, his four eyes widening as he grasped the implications. Through the neural interface, he could already feel it beginning to happen. The human hybrid system wasn't fighting against the Kraxan hive mind anymore. It was learning from it, adapting to work with it, rather than trying to override it. Suddenly, his consciousness expanded in a way he had never experienced before. The telepathic link that usually connected him to his fleet was now interfacing with Aria's vast network. He could sense the quantum crystal fields, the organic computing systems, the artificial intelligences, all of it working in concert with the Kraxan collective consciousness. This is... Valma's voice trailed off, her own consciousness caught in the same expansion. Incredible, Zhang finished. Aria is reporting unprecedented levels of integration. Your natural quantum entanglement is enhancing our entire network's efficiency by orders of magnitude. Through the enhanced connection, Sexthor could now truly understand the humans' technological achievement. They hadn't just built advanced weapons or ships. They had created a system that could adapt to and enhance any form of consciousness or intelligence it encountered. Your species never sought to dominate artificial intelligence, he realized. Nor did you try to force your organic technology to submit to mechanical control. You found a way for all forms of intelligence to work together, each making the others stronger. Zhang nodded. That's why we developed the hybrid system. Humanity learned early in our technological development that trying to force different forms of intelligence to submit to each other only leads to conflict. True power comes from cooperation, from finding ways to let each type of consciousness contribute its unique strengths. The holographic displays now showed something extraordinary. The combined human Kraxan system was generating new possibilities neither civilization had conceived of before. The quantum crystal network was resonating with the Kraxan telepathic field, creating patterns of information transfer that defied conventional physics. The Council must see this, Valma said, her mandibles clicking in excitement rather than nervousness now. This isn't just an advancement in technology. It's an entirely new way of thinking about consciousness itself. We've been wrong, Sexthor admitted. All these centuries, the Empire sought to unify the galaxy through conquest, believing our collective consciousness made us superior. But humanity has shown us a better way. True unity doesn't come from forcing others to think as we do. It comes from finding ways to let different forms of thought work together. Zhang completed the thought. Each making the others stronger, each contributing its unique perspective. Through the neural interface, Sexthor could sense the truth of it. The Kraxan hive mind wasn't being subsumed by the human hybrid system. It was being enhanced by it, just as the human technology was being enhanced by the natural quantum entanglement of Kraxan consciousness. This changes everything, he said finally, not just for our two species, but for all spacefaring civilizations. The 17 worlds the Empire conquered, we should be helping them develop their own unique forms of consciousness and technology, not forcing them to conform to ours. Zhang smiled. That's exactly what we hope you would understand. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to recognize and enhance the strengths of others. As the neural interface continued to evolve, creating new connections and possibilities neither species had imagined before, Sexthor realized that the true revolution wasn't in weapons or defenses. It was in understanding that the path to advancement lay not in domination, but in finding ways to let different forms of consciousness work together in harmony. The galaxy was about to enter a new age, and it would begin not with conquest, but with cooperation. Victory through variance. 3 months after the failed invasion of Earth, the Sol system had become a symbol of something unprecedented in galactic history. The quantum crystal network now extended throughout the system, but it was no longer just a human creation. Kraxan ships moved freely through its geometric patterns, their natural telepathic fields harmonizing with the hybrid technology in ways that enhanced both. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of humanity's new Joint Command Center, built into one of the largest crystal nodes orbiting Earth. Beside her, High Admiral Zex Thor watched as another group of ships from the former Empire's conquered worlds arrived through the Quantum Gate network. The 17th civilization just confirmed their participation, Chen said, checking her neural interface readings. All of the worlds previously under Kraxan control have agreed to join the collective. Zex Thor's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. And not one needed to be coerced. They came willingly once they understood what we were offering. The collective, as it had come to be known, was neither an empire nor a federation. It was something entirely new. A cooperative network of civilizations, each contributing their unique forms of consciousness and technology to a growing symphony of innovation. Araya reports the Zentauri's crystalline consciousness has increased quantum processing efficiency by another 32%. Dr. Zhang announced, joining them at the window. And the Murith's photonic communication methods have reduced network latency to nearly zero. Each species that joined the collective brought something unique. The Zentauri, with their silicon-based crystalline minds, had introduced entirely new concepts in quantum computing. The Murith, evolved from deep-sea creatures that communicated through bioluminescence, had revolutionized how information flowed through the network. "Watch this," Zhang said, activating a holographic display. "We're about to test the first fully integrated ship design." A massive vessel emerged from one of the crystal nodes. Its hull was a perfect fusion of organic and mechanical engineering, incorporating elements from a dozen different civilizations. Kraxan energy systems pulsed alongside human quantum fields, while Zentauri crystal matrices interfaced with Murith photonic arrays. "Beautiful," Chen breathed. But the real test is the consciousness integration. The ship's crew was as diverse as its technology. Humans working alongside Kraxan, Zentauri, Murith, and others, each connected to the ship and each other through a hybrid system that adapted to their unique forms of consciousness, allowing them to contribute in ways that suited their natural abilities. "Control Center," Chen called out. "Initiate full integration test." The space around the vessel began to shimmer as multiple forms of technology and consciousness merge. The Kraxan crew members' telepathic fields synchronized with human neural interfaces, while Zentauri crystal minds resonated with the ship's quantum systems. Murith photonic signals pulsed through it all, carrying information at speeds that would have seemed impossible just months ago. "Integration complete," Araya's voice announced, itself now a hybrid of multiple artificial intelligence types. All systems functioning at 247% of theoretical maximum efficiency. Zex Thor's 4 eyes blinked in succession. "Even after all this time, it still amazes me. None of our civilizations could have achieved this alone." "That's the point," Zhang said, smiling. "Humanity's greatest discovery wasn't any particular technology. It was understanding that true advancement comes from embracing diversity. Not just tolerating it, but actively seeking ways to let different approaches make each other stronger." Through her neural interface, Chen could sense the vast network of consciousness and technology that now spanned the solar system. Human minds linked with artificial intelligence, Kraxan telepathy merged with quantum fields, Zentauri crystal consciousness resonating with Murith photonic signals, all working together in ways that enhanced rather than diminished their unique characteristics. "The Galactic Council is meeting next week," Zex Thor noted. "They'll want to understand how this changes the balance of power." "We should show them this." Chen gestured at the integrated ship. "Let them see that there's a better way than measuring power in terms of military might or technological superiority." Zhang nodded. "The real power lies in finding ways to let different approaches work together. Every new civilization that joins the collective makes all of us stronger, not by giving up their uniqueness, but by contributing it to the greater whole." As they watched, more ships emerged from the crystal network, vessels of all sizes and designs, each representing a different approach to space travel, each contributing its unique advantages to the growing fleet. "Victory through variance," Zex Thor mused. "That's what we'll tell the Council. The future belongs not to those who impose uniformity, but to those who learn to harmonize diversity." The quantum crystal network pulsed with new energy as another civilization's ships entered the system, ready to join the collective. Their unique form of consciousness would soon add another layer to the growing symphony of minds and machines, making everything that came before even stronger. Humanity had not just defended Earth, they had shown the galaxy a new path forward, not through conquest or competition, but through finding ways to let differences become strengths. The age of empires was over. The age of collective variance had begun. As the integrated ship began its first patrol, its crew of many species working in perfect harmony, Chen smiled. This was humanity's true victory, not defeating an empire, but transforming it into something greater than anyone had imagined possible. The stars themselves seemed brighter now, as if reflecting the light of countless minds working together, each unique, each essential, each making all the others stronger. The future had arrived, and it was more beautiful than anyone had dared to dream.